Hello, my January babies. It's me, Kirsten, and this is the tarotscope for the month ahead for January. I know I'm late. I'm so sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. I thought I'd do something a little different this week. We talked in the larger energy forecast, or this month, we talked in the larger energy forecast about this idea of the magician and the hermit coming together, and a real investigation of who your teachers are, meaning internally, what voices are you listening to, where you're sourcing your wisdom from, and externally, whose voices are you allowing into your field, who is telling you what is right, what you need, what must be, and an investigation of that. So I thought it would be nice to pull just an animal card from the Kim Krantz Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck to keep it simple and to allow the animal to be your companion, your resource, your teacher in this month ahead, and just to see what medicine they want to bring to the space. Bringing the animal energy in feels like a gentle way of giving you some companionship on that journey without overwhelming that journey. Let me know what you think. Let me know how it goes. I'm going to start with Capricorn, and the energy that Capricorn pulls up, the animal energy, is fire ant. Not the easiest energy, Capricorn. Fire ant is really a doubling down of this message of what voices are you allowing to influence you right now. Gossip comes up in fire ant energy. So just like, are you getting tangled in other people's drama? Are you allowing people's kind of gossip and heat and own emotional turbulence to intercede into your peace, to kind of cross the boundaries into your space? Fire ant energy is very alarming to who you're allowing to influence you. Idea that we are similar to the 5 people we are closest to. Just notice that. Notice the way conversations or people might leave you feeling more confused or depleted than when they started, and notice the places where that's not true. Fire energy is exciting and hot and distracting and even a little bit titillating, and the medicine coming in this month is just saying, notice what's getting you going and whether that actually serves you. I have a sense that something about the stories you're hearing and the people you're interacting with is not doing that, is not serving you in this moment. So get curious about what that looks like in your life, and give yourself time to leach the heat out of conversations, leach the heat out of reactivity, leach the heat out of your own responses before you engage. Yeah, you're going to be, don't get drawn into the drama, don't get drawn into the battle. It's not going to serve you, and I think it might end up blowing up. Sorry, Capricorn, that's a little bit of a tough love message, but it's unlike you to get tossed into people's drama, and so just see how that's showing up for you this month. Aquarius, you have Phoenix energy. Phoenix energy is so beautiful, concerned with the root chakra, concerned with my sense of where I source my power from. So again, it's a beautiful echo of what's happening right now in the month of January, where we're having a sense of our own power and maybe even setting fire to the old teachers, like setting fire to the idea of the way it was supposed to be, or who or how we're moving. Phoenix energy says that nothing needs to stay, that anything you thought like it had to be this way, Phoenix is like, fuck that, dude. It does not need to be this way. Phoenix energy says, where is your true safety? Where is your true rooting? Where are you tethered to the earth? Where are you tethered to the universe, to source, to power? And does that tether feel alive and vital? I have to say, the energy, the way it's coming through, is very seductive and very, it feels really good. Like it feels like being really turned on by life. If that's your experience this month, Capricorn, embrace it. Like embrace the truth of what makes you feel alive and safe and vital in the world. And you don't need to explain that to anyone ever. Pisces, I pulled Cobra for you. Cobra in this deck is actually very analogous with Hermit. It has a little bit more fire, a little more heat, a little more danger associated with it, but it really is about inner wisdom, about the inner teacher. So I love the way these cards are just kind of echoing everything we've been talking about and everything that the Hermit and the Magician were trying to express in this more nuanced way. Cobra is saying, pause. Get still, listen to your wisdom, listen to your inner light, listen to that star. The Hermit, holds the lantern with the star, the light of clarity, the light of enlightenment, the light of knowing, the light of surety. And that lives within you. And as Cobra medicine comes to you to say, trust that, like pause, quiet, listen. Nothing needs to get decided this month for you, Pisces. You might feel some urgency to make decisions when there's nothing to decide. This is a doubling down on the energy of my job in January is to remember how powerful I am and remember why I'm choosing to do things the way I'm choosing to do them, and to quiet down anything trying to distract you from that truth, from that knowing, from that inner wisdom. And you are allowed to be fierce about that. You're allowed to protect that. So if someone tries to kind of override that, you have full permission to hiss back. You have full permission to be like, chill the fuck out. You don't know what this is like for me, and I do not need you confusing things in this moment. There's a little bit of fierceness that comes with that cobra that might serve you well, Pisces. Aries, you have the lamb. Oh, it reminds me of like in like a lion out like a lamb for March. The lamb is exactly what you might imagine. It's such gentleness. It's such tenderness. Many people are going through a profound shakeup right now of the course that was 2023 really shot people out into 2024 a little bit dazed and dazzled. And the lamb energy would say, just take a moment to rest. Take a moment to be so gentle with yourself, so tender, so quiet. And if you can, Aries, bring that energy to your relationships, to communication, to your way of speaking. It's a very un-Aries-like way, and there's a lot of forgiveness. It has the energy of, the savior, of being forgiven, of second chances. The lamb is asking for your patience and your gentleness with yourself and with the world. I think it's going to feel better than you imagine to embrace that. It will quiet and calm something inside of you that's been aching for a long time. Taurus, elk. Taurus is just very Taurus, elk energy. It's very like powerful, feet on the ground, not dissimilar from a bull energy. It is a strong masculine clarity. I would offer Taurus that so many of you have just gone through it the past few years, me included. There's something about where you find yourself and the steadiness and surety of your footing that is such a gift to your community and such a gift to the world right now. Hopefully you feel that. Hopefully you can feel the sense of things are changing, but I trust myself in a way that I maybe never have before. And I hear myself. I hear my own inner wisdom in a way that is clear like a bell. And I am going to feed into the root system, feed into the grid, this sense of it's going to be okay. That can't be understated how important that is right now. It is divine masculine, it is stillness, it is consciousness, it is full acceptance of what is. And the world needs that right now. So if you don't feel that, may you find a teacher who shows you that, either internally or externally. And if you do feel that, may you be the teacher that the world needs right now. Gemini, turtle energy. Gemini, turtle is like... Sorry. I just had this image of the turtle being like, check you later, and like swimming out into the currents. There's a part of you that maybe doesn't want to do what January is asking you to do. Sorry, it's very funny. So January is asking you to get quiet, to trust yourself, to listen to your internal teachings, and trust the larger purpose of your desire, the larger purpose of what you are called to create right now. Something about your energy, Gemini, and about turtle energy in general that's like, maybe later. Like I just feel like hanging out right now. There's a little bit of a distractibility and a almost like hedonism in this energy. And I don't know that it's a bad thing. I really don't. Coming through is so playful and fun and so liberating that it might be exactly what you need. It might be that the medicine for you is to allow this investigation of your power, allow this investigation of your teachers and your wisdom to be light, to not be too serious, to be a little bit more playful. This energy feels so good, Gemini. So lucky you to have it. There's definitely a little bit of a challenge of avoidance, a challenge of like not wanting to look directly at what's happening. And as I said but that's an interesting idea, this idea of like turn away from nothing, because that's how you create everything. I keep hearing that phrase in my mind, and in a much broader way. But it feels a little bit like, where are you turning away, Gemini? And mostly play might be just what the doctor ordered, but notice the distinction between bringing playful lightness to the world and ignoring the truth of the world. Okay, Gemini. Cancer, my little rabbit. you have rabbit energy. A rabbit has a hypervigilance to it that, when we think about trauma work, hypervigilance is not something that any of us would aspire to. We are trying to usually calm our hypervigilance, relax our hypervigilance. But sometimes especially when we're in this conversation of whose voice are you listening to, who is the teacher that you are trusting, and is their teaching serving you internally and externally, the rabbit's hypervigilance becomes a gift. The rabbit's ability to hear the distinction, to hear the subtleties in language, to hear the subtleties in energy, to kind of gather a wider net of perception actually becomes a gift. So Cancer, the message here for you is a little bit twofold. One, notice where fear is ungrounding you, and then also ground into the earth, ground into this moment, ground into your body as a way of allowing your perception to get wider and your awareness to pick up on more subtlety. Questions for you this month might be a little more nuance to what is a good teaching and what is distracting you. And I also think maybe there's a way in which you might have trouble hearing yourself. You might have trouble, Cancer, your natural tendency is to feel so clearly what it's like for everyone else. There might be a sense this month that you're trying to hear past all of that and pick up on the cues that your own heart is sending, to pick up on your own truth, your own wisdom, your own power. Keep listening, Cancer. Embrace the subtlety of your awareness and try to feel past. The way they're showing in my mind right now, what I'm seeing is like other people's colors, like trying to let your hearing go. I remember like in a spy movie when they're like listening, some kind of listening device, and they're tuning the radio and you hear all the different conversations coming through. It's like keep tuning your radio, letting the other conversations filter through until you hear your own sweet voice. You have that capacity to hear more deeply this month, and I think that's really awesome. Beautiful way that rabbit's showing up for you, where this hypervigilance becomes a great gift and a great superpower in distinguishing where your true voice is, where your true wisdom lies. Leo, you have the unicorn, and the unicorn is in this deck concerned with third eye. So there's an awareness, and it's interesting because the strength card is associated with Leo, and that's number 8, and that's the year that we're all in. And so we're just entering this new weather, this new atmosphere of 8 energy, which is kind of a natural home for you. You feel at home in the world, Leo. You feel empowered to create, empowered to speak your kind of shine. You're empowered to shine in this lifetime. The unicorn coming up, kind of activating your third eye, says to me that there's something really interesting happening in your subtle awareness of energy. And what I feel, and actually I feel it very much in my chest, is the sense of needing to shining more organically and authentically versus putting on this performance of being the shiny, powerful Leo. There's something happening where you're quieting the need to appear a certain way, and you're actually allowing your creative capacity, your manifesting power, your fire to shine in a way that feels more authentic and just more gentle, but more tapped in. So it's less of this like beautiful shine and performance and more of this gift of light to the world. That's interesting, Leo. It doubles down on, again, this call to get quiet, and to relax the muscles or the habits or the tendencies that say you need to be a certain way, you need to perform a certain way to be considered beautiful and valuable. Something there for sure. Virgo, you have the bat with you, bat energy with you, which immediately says to me that these are things that cannot be seen with the eye. There's some transformation, there's some ending, there's some chapter closing that is asking you to feel in the dark. So it's saying to you, you might not know what's next, but can you trust your subtle senses? Can you trust your knowing? Can you trust the hum guiding you home right now? And I'm not going to lie, there's some energy here of grief and sadness, and awareness of this closing doorway. And I don't know if the closing doorway is 2023 or some other thing ending in your life. And it's hard. And you need to rely on, again, your inner wisdom, your inner knowing to guide you. This is not something you're going to be able to project forward. You're going to have to be really nonlinear in how you approach it, really instinctive in how you approach it, really trusting kind of one foot in front of the other. I know I say that a lot, but that's very much coming through with this bad energy. In many ways, you may underestimate how well you do in the dark, how well you are navigating in the dark. And it again ties back to this wisdom, this hermit energy. What is your true north? Like, what is your true north? Keep moving towards it. Like, you can't miss it. It's that magnetic pull. You're not doing that by sight. You're not doing that by the light of the sun. You're doing that by a magnetic movement towards that is undeniable. So trust that. Trust that, Virgo. Libra, stingray. Libra, you might be questioning how to navigate this call to trust your power. Be aware of who your teachers are might feel really foreign to you. It might feel like you're very much in the space of the groundless ground. And as a stingray medicine, that can feel really good. There's a way in which you can kind of keep moving and you don't need to ground. So yeah, and it's similar to that Gemini energy of when will you stop? Like, when will you rest? When will you trust yourself? When will you really take your power seriously? That's the energy coming through. What I'll say to you is that power is yours. Like, the way that you move in the world, the way that you blossom, the way that you carry creative energy, you get to decide how you do that. And maybe part of what the stingray is trying to show you is that there are many, many paths, and that you don't have to do it the way the rest of the world does it, but you also can't avoid it. There's something about, again, like Gemini, this one side of the coin is a beautiful acceptance of you holding your power in the way that feels right and easy for you. And on the other side of the coin is an abdication of control, is a sense of like, I don't need to decide that now. I'm not really in charge anyway. And stingray is asking you to be aware of the subtle difference between those two things and where your energy is, where you're landing on either side of that coin. An invitation to do it your way, but not to avoid doing it because you're not sure how. There's a fierceness to stingray that your inability to claim your power might be more harmful than you realize. That's why the stingray is saying you don't have to do it the way everyone else does it, but you do have to address it. The 8 year is too important. Too much is going to change, and nobody gets to abdicate their control or their power in this year ahead. That won't serve us. So even if it's just small gestures, small movements towards, keep remembering that understanding your power, understanding your wisdom is valuable and is something that you need to take ownership of. Similar to what I was saying to Cancer, like, use your environment to pick up on the depths of power in the world. And you get to swim at any depth you want, but you have to swim. Scorpio, deer energy. Similar to Aries, Scorpio, there's a great power in your gentleness this month. And it's interesting, right? Because Lamb and Deer, Aries and Scorpio, Mars energy. Mars is not known as the compassionate energy, the compassionate planet, but there's a sense, like with Aries, that it's not about force at all, and it's about laying down your weapons, laying down your need to be right or make a point, and to just very gently offer softness and compassion to yourself and to the world. Again, like what I was just saying to Libra, power shows up in many, many different ways. There's nothing more powerful than the energy of the Blessed Mother, all accepting, all loving, unconditional mother. There's a deep power in that capacity to be with what is, and that's different than force, but it's no less powerful. And so how can you expand this idea of power through gentleness, power through softness, power through compassion? And similar to what I was saying to Cancer, the hypervigilance of the deer is a gift. So you're picking up on these subtle messages, these subtle teaching, these subtle whisperings, either internal or external. Trust them. Even if you don't quite get it, you don't know what to do with in this moment, trust that if you want to pay attention to it, you're paying attention to it for a reason. It's a very elevated energy for Scorpio to engage with because there's no protective quality to it. And part of that is trusting yourself that when the time comes for protection, you're the deer. You can run swifter than anyone else. Until that moment comes, can you trust yourself to stay steady until you actually know what to do next? But compassion, compassion, compassion. Sagittarius, you have hawk energy. Hawk is beautiful, soaring wisdom, the ability to see far, far into the future and to hold that vision steady. Hawk energy says to me, Sagittarius, do not get lost in the weeds right now. Do not get bogged down by other people's capacity or capabilities. You're a hawk. You can fly free. You don't need to get involved in the nitty-gritty. You don't need to be earthbound. You don't need to be stuck. Your power comes from a great lifting, not from a paddling around on the ground. So you really want to take the energy of Hawk, the uplift that Hawk is offering you, the vision that Hawk is offering you, the fierceness that Hawk is offering you, and you want to stay very focused on what is yours. What are you here to do? What is, again, your true north? Feels a little bit like above it all, and that is just right. That feels just right. That feels like the self-respect, the self-empowerment that this January month is calling for and asking for in all of us, and very specifically in you, trusting the strength of your wings, trusting the strength of your sight. Overall, underneath all of these cards, there was the Nightingale, which is the message that your voice matters. The energy of the Nightingale in this deck is that the world weeps to not hear your song. In this 8-year, you are going to be asked to sing your song for the world, and that's going to come in many, many different forms, and your way is right. And in January, the world is asking you to just settle into both your power and your wisdom. These animals are here to kind of help you find that. That's going to look different for all of us. But remember, the world needs you and it wants you, and all the potential that you carry kind of means nothing until you're ready to bring it into form. And that's what the 8-year is going to ask of you. And I can't wait to hear what song you sing, because it's going to be amazing. So much love at you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. It's giving everything is sacred. It's giving art. It's giving light you up and turn you on and set you free. It's giving curiosity. It's giving freedom. It's giving love. It's giving you are more magical and powerful than you can comprehend. It's giving, I don't know what's happening, but I am so here for it. It's giving you are pure potential. It's giving mystical.